Well, hi everyone. I hope you had a wonderful day and we're done with Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday and then the middle of the week is over. And a lot of you can look forward to 2 more days and the weekend. I know that feeling. I know that feeling well too. So, as we look forward to the rest of the week, I hope today was as productive as yesterday was. Today was a pretty good day for me. I have no complaints about today. I did manage to invest in some Natco and some Jyoti Labs for myself. I hope we managed to pick up something along the way. Market are in an all-time, going towards an all-time high, I guess. Seems to be going around everywhere. A few weeks back, we were thinking about it being down, and a lot of you were in a lot of pain, saying that you're seeing some slight negativity here and there, and you're feeling nervous about it. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are saying plus 4%, plus 5%, and you're rather feeling peachy about it. Then, before you were asking me, should I look at the stock? Should I look at the stock? Now the prices have gone up. You're like, oh my God, am I missing out? Should I look at the stock? Should I look at this stock? So the basic question hasn't changed. Should you look at this? Should you look at this? And most of the questions, funnily enough, which I had asked you to populate today, are all stock-specific queries which you've asked me about. First one on the list is ABB India. Yes, ABB is a high-quality goods player, benefiting from automation, electrification, industrial digitization, right? Low debt, strong margins, it looks good, but I wouldn't say it's a great company for a value investor right now. It is very, very expensive in my books, and I would definitely give ABB a miss. Next one is ITC. For ITC, it's a great company to own. At this price also, it's all right. It's especially for beginners who are just starting to invest in the market. I would say ITC is a great bet and a great thing to start investing with. It's stable, it's cash rich, it gives dividends, and you're entering the FMCG sector, which is strongly and ideally very strong and weatherproof even during tough economic times. So if you're looking at ITC, you can. But of course, keep in mind to keep sipping. I'm not talking about dropping your kitchen sink. Yes, Jyoti Labs also. It's there on the list, don't worry. I'll get to Jyoti Labs. Next was Reliance Power versus Tata Powers. I would avoid Reliance Power because of its poor governance history and its low performance. Tata Power has better fundamentals and this green pivot is good. Only thing it is right now, the price where it is at, it is expensive. I would wait Tata Powers for a bigger correction for me to be interested in buying it. But you can keep it on your list. And if you're looking at Tata Powers, there's nothing wrong in it as long as the price comes to a point where it makes sense. I wouldn't touch Maharashtra Seamless, cyclical stock benefiting from infra and oil gas upticks. But if you're looking at it, I wouldn't bother. As a conservative investor, it's not ideal. Next is Silchar. I don't know. I really do not know about this company. It's a small cap, I think, but those of you who do know about it can drop in some comments about it. I've not had time to dive into it. Syngene International. I think it's a biotech company, if I'm right. Well, that is something also I've really not dived into. And if you know more about it, you can populate that. I've not looked at it. Relaxo, I wouldn't look at it. It's very expensive. It's overvalued. And definitely I would give it a miss. When I'm not even looking at Bata, why would I look at Relaxo? BSE, I know it's a duopoly with the NSE, and a lot of you are thinking about BSE. I wouldn't look at BSE either. I don't look at these companies. If your opinion is different, I can understand. Do share your argument why you think BSE and NSE should definitely be on the list. I tend to avoid these companies. And Tata Chemicals, it's a good company and you can buy Tata Chemicals. If you're looking at to sip it, please consider sipping it very slowly. Don't go drop again the kitchen sink on Tata Chemicals. You can buy 1 or 2 stocks now and then. It's not a bad thing to do. Wipro, if you're looking at it for 5-6 years, you're planning to hold it for 5-6 years, you can look at it. I'm not looking at Wipro right now, but if it's there on your list, you can definitely consider it. IOC, I would not look at it because it's a government company and I tend to stay far away from all these oil companies. Manappuram, yes, but remember Bain Capital's where it is at floor price. So I would say you should wait for Manappuram right now. Immediately don't jump in and say, should you sell everything, whatever you have in Manappuram, and wait for the correction and buy Manappuram again. No. If you have bought Manappuram in a position of whatever position you're in, please leave it alone. You don't need to go sell your Manappuram and buy it at a cheaper price or profit or try to catch the falling market. This is for purely the advice that if you are planning to buy fresh Manappuram stock, maybe you can wait a little while to see what's happening with Bain in terms of them now doing this floor price which they want to do, and then see what we can consider. So Manappuram might give you an opportunity. So this is what I feel with Manappuram. So don't go sell it. Jyoti Labs, yes, today I told you about Jyoti Labs. So it's a good company, and I think it's a great company, and I think the price is pretty fair. So you can definitely consider Jyoti Labs. Dabur is too expensive, and I would not look at Dabur, though it's fundamentally very sound. I would not. And recently, I think in the past, they were in the talks about someone taking over or buying it. I'm not sure. I do forget. Geo Financial, no, I will not touch it. If you like Geo Finance, it's your cup of tea. Do your own due diligence. I won't bother doing my due diligence with this. There's lots of reasons. Anand spoken about it in great length. Why Geo Finance we don't look at, but you're welcome to look at it. If you think the governance is good, management is great, you can look at it. And CDSL and Angel One, both of those two, I will not look at it. I understand why you're looking at it, but it's not something in my cup of tea or my wheelhouse. When I have all these other options, I would generally stay away from it. In terms of bank, I would say IDFC is still great, Federal Bank is still great, and Karnataka Bank, South Indian Bank, all these banks. And the way you have to look at IDFC is he is comparing himself to something like becoming like a next HDFC, and a guy who's running the bank, who's envisioning himself to becoming like HDFC, there's a lot of room for growth, and he's going to try and be aggressive for that growth. When we're talking about Spandana, should we look at Spandana? You can look at Spandana 1 or 2 here and there if you have the appetite for volatility. It is a stock that is going to take a good 3-4 years to see something great with it. That means you can see Spandana from here going to 200. You might see Spandana from here going to 600. Then again, it might come back to 300. But that is where Spandana is right now. They are going to have 2 more bad quarters, is what they've said on the call, the investor call. After that, they expect things to turn around. So in the short term, next year at least, Spandana prices, stock prices are going to be volatile. So keep that in mind if you are touching Spandana. A lot of you don't have the risk appetite for something going crazy. It bothers you when something moves down by 2%, 3%. So imagine something moves down by 50%. Will you have this tenacity to keep holding it and thinking, okay? So that is something you have to answer for yourself. Even if it is Tiffin Coffee range, it's not the money which you guys are most worried about. You guys are slowly getting attached, which is what I'm most worried about, to holding these stocks. Yes, you're gathering these stocks, but you're starting to look at your portfolio as if it's your precious from Lord of the Rings. You all are sitting around like Golem and looking at it and saying, my precious. I want you to break out of that habit. Stop looking at your portfolio as if it is something very precious or being very proud of it. It's just a portfolio. It's like just like your wallet. Are you holding your wallet every day and saying, I'm very proud of it? No, it sounds bizarre. Same way, if you're constantly looking at your portfolio and seeing this, it will only create heartache, and it's not good for your mental health. So try to walk away from your portfolio and live your life and do other things other than when you log on to see what you've done for the day, check and then move on. So this is where all these stock questions which I saw, I've answered most of them, I think. Again, after this video, I'll put up another opportunity to put in your questions, drop in your questions over there, and I'll try and answer it. Of course, again, if you guys talk about Spandana, and again, if you talk about all these same companies again, I will again reply to these questions, queries all over again. I do understand it's plaguing your mind, no matter how many times we talk about it. I do get that. I don't mind talking about it over and over again, as long as it's helping you. Now, in terms of bond investment, lots of queries were asked. Where and how to buy the bonds? A lot of you are talking about gold buy, Wind Wealth, INR bonds directly from RBI. So you can use whatever platform you want. I have not used any of these platforms myself personally, so I cannot vouch for any of these platforms. If you would like to do my method of investing in bond and what my brother is talking about me, please reach out on Instagram, WhatsApp, and please be patient. We will get to you, we will talk to you, and we will help you, and we'll try and help you establish and put a plan together for you. But it will take time. You have to be patient. If you're having extreme, FOMO, and you're feeling rather anxious about it, I can't do anything. You will have to be patient. And I please ask you and request you, if you are reaching out to me and my team, to be extremely patient. We are getting through. Especially when you reach out to me, I want to ensure that it's me who is replying to you and not someone else or some bot which is replying to you. So I am human and I will take my time to get one by one through them. Thank you for being patient, for those of you who are understanding. The best bond platforms also I do not know because I don't use any of them, but corporate bonds is where the money is, because corporate bonds are the ones which are offering this kind of interest which you are most happy about. So as far as corporate bonds are concerned, look at the rating, look at the yield and study it if you're going out on your own. I've done many videos about how to analyze a bond, so please go back and look at a video like that and then analyze the bond and ask many questions to whomsoever you're buying the bond from. Ask them all kinds of questions and make sure that you're completely happy. And the same analysis which you do for equity, you should do for bond. Like we say, promoter integrity is paramount. This is especially true for bonds. Promoter integrity is paramount when you're buying a bond from a company. Make sure that you believe in the company and the promoter and understand its business before you decide to lend it your hard-earned money. Remember, end of the day, bond is lending money. So if you decide to lend money to somebody, make sure they're good. Make sure you trust them. The banks do the same thing to you. You have to provide all your income documents and provide all kinds of stuff before they decide to give you a loan. You should have the same. You should extend the same courtesy. You should extend the same courtesy to any business you wish to lend money to. Of course, if you're looking at mutual fund and ETFs and bond, those have a much lower bar of entry. I think even at 100 rupees in some of these mutual fund bonds, you can start entering. That also make sure it's an ETF, it's passive and it's safe and it's liquid more than anything else. In case you want to pull your money out, you can sell. Now, in terms of long term, if you're looking at, bonds do not function like equity. Equity gives you capital gain, it gives you capital growth. Bonds do not do that. So you cannot think that I will buy bonds long term and I'll have tremendous growth in my portfolio. It will not happen. Bonds do not grow. All they do is they serve you by giving you consistent interest. So you cannot buy a bond or buy a debt or and have a huge portfolio of bond and think that you're going to become very rich. It will not. It will not grow. So if you're looking for growth, then you have to only look at equity. So somewhere along the line, you have to strike a balance. The younger you are, the more equity exposure you can take. The older you become, the more bond you should have in your portfolio, because the steady return of income will help you cushion as you're getting older. As you get older, you have more commitments in life and more job volatility is dangerous, especially with AI and all this. So having some kind of a second source of income passively will give you a lot of mental relief. If you're very young and you don't have commitments, then of course it's better to take a longer position on equity. But then again, I've said many times about when you're talking about long term, this equity, and if you get lump sums, please think of putting them into a bond and then take the interest and look at how to invest it. And other things you guys were hitting and asking me about a lot about is about gold and equity. I would say at least 10 to 15% if you want, you can keep gold. I only keep it around 5%. Same way in debt and bonds, I would say around 15 to 20% should be more than enough. But if you want, you can take more. Equity should be around 70%. This thumb rule is only valid if you, like I said, are much older and it makes sense to you. Lump sums in bond, interest in equity, you can continue doing that. If you're younger, you can take a different approach and stay, more on the equity side. But gold has to remain constant no matter what you do. The other things you guys were asking me about was bonds are not listed in all platforms across. It is not like you buy stocks in Zerodha and all that. Not all platforms have bonds, and each NBFCs have different trenches of bonds, so they're very different and can be very confusing. This is why I said the bond market is not very deep in India. It's very shallow because there are not many players, especially in retail segment, playing in bond market. So do be careful out there. Then if you're looking at Pharma B's ETF versus stock, I would rather that you look at the stocks. You can carefully pick a good pharma company and keep investing than a Pharma B's ETF. But the ETFs is an option if you cannot afford to buy a Pharma B. If you can't afford to buy a pharma stock. So if you can't afford to buy, a Natco or Dr. Reddy or any of them, then Pharma B's make sense because you're getting exposure to the pharma sector. Same thing with IT. If you're only investing 500 rupees a month, 1000 rupees a month, then you can deviate up in all these different ETFs, B's ETFs, and take exposure into it. But if you are keen on, building equity and you have the capital for it, then try and pick the stocks directly. That would be my biggest advice. Now, how to begin investing if you have a 20,000 rupee salary? If you have a 20,000 rupee salary and you're just starting to invest and you know nothing about it, invest 2 to 3K a month and start investing it in passive funds, passive mutual funds, and gradually learn about stocks. Avoid loans, avoid EMIs, and stay as lean as you can and try not to spend your money. Especially don't spend your money buying things you definitely don't need. We all fall into this trap whenever we see something and we have the strong urge to buy it. Try and learn the skill of foregoing what is there in the short term and hold things for the long term. If you have a personal loan that is at 32%, please put as priority to close it. One of you has said that he's got a personal loan and he doesn't know what to do to reduce it. Beg, borrow, steal, as my brother would say, and don't of course steal. It's just a saying, but find some way of means of closing it, because personal loan at a huge interest cost is crazy. That too, if you've gone and borrowed it on your credit card as a loan and you don't cash out on your credit card, it's extremely difficult to close. So borrow from some other source and somehow bring the interest rate down and close that loan as a priority. If you have any emergency fund, if you have some gold, look at liquidating those things and closing it off and starting fresh. I know it is painful, I know it can hurt a lot, but you'll be better off it in the long run because this will be a lesson you'll never forget. If you try and avoid it, this lesson will haunt you till you learn it. I've suffered like this in life, so I'm telling you very much, it's better to learn these lessons when you're younger and get the scars when you're young, so you remember it much later in life than hurting yourself when you're much older. And as far as medical insurance is concerned, like I've said many times, some of you have asked, even if the government is giving you some basic cover, please look at taking private health insurance, 5 to 10 lakhs cover for a broader protection, so you're covered. When you're younger, it's much cheaper to take health insurance than waiting for it. CISE Gopinath is asking, where is Dana? Well, Dana has moved on to doing other things, my friend. He is currently looking at doing some certification in Microsoft, and once he does that certification, he might come back to YouTube. I'm not sure. But I'm going to catch up with him once I'm back in Chennai, and I'll ask him if he would like to come and give an update on what he's trying to do in his life right now. But he's doing great. Don't have to worry about him. He's moving on to greener pastures, as they say. Surplus. Where do you park short-term liquidity? If you have short-term liquidity, and short surplus, that is. If you have short-term surplus and you need it in a very short span of time, just keep it as liquid cash if you need it in a very short span of time. If you can hold it for a year or more, then you can probably investigate some of these liquid short-term funds, but I really wouldn't. If you really have some surplus cash and you need it short term, I would suggest you keep it as cash. If it's more than a year, then you can definitely put it into a bond. And your emergency fund is meant to be in emergencies. It's only 6 months. So please hold on to your emergency fund as cash. Do not go invest your emergency fund in some bond or some stock and then get jammed up when the emergency happens. That's why it's called an emergency fund, and that should always remain liquid in your account. Of course, you can put it as an FD or a recurring deposit if you want to collect a little bit of interest, which is not a bad thing because FDs are very easy to break. But other than that, don't go lock it up in some investment and struggle with it. Finally, before you invest into bonds, a lot of you are asking me about bonds. I appreciate that. I would say spend some time and actually learn about bonds. Like how you're sitting and learning about stocks and you're asking me questions about stocks. I would also appreciate and really be happy to see a lot of you asking me a lot of thoughtful questions about bond and bond yields and ratings. That means you're really doing some reading, and that would be great to know. So anyway, these are the questions you guys had broadly asked about, which I wanted to hit on. So I hope that covers most of it. Other than that, the market was very positive today. Lots of things were up. Of course, there were also pockets where we could dip in, like I said, in NATCO and Jyoti Labs I was looking at. And what is the effect of the RBI cut? Bank deposits rates are going to go down. Your saving bank rates will go down. Of course, when loans become cheaper, that means banks earn less. If banks are earning less, they will offer less. It is simple as that. This is a lot of you were looking at me and saying, why would I put it in a bond when bank itself is giving me an FD return of 8%, 9%. Now those days are over. Banks are not going to give you those kinds of FD rates. So keep that in mind. FD rates will fall and savings account rates will fall. Other interesting thing was Big Baskets also launched this 10-minute food delivery across India. They're going to, plan to launch it by March next year. So there's going to be more pressure on people like Zomato and Swiggy. Like my brother's been saying a lot, and I hope you guys are starting to understand. There is no moat for Zomato. There's no real moat for Swiggy. There's no real moat for any of these delivery or transportation gig working economies, because anybody can set it up very fast. That too now with AI, getting an app up and running is not difficult. And if you have enough capital to throw at it, you can destroy the competition. So this is very evident, and you're going to see more of this happening. So keep this in mind. Other than this, I have nothing more that is pressing on my mind which I wanted to share with you. So I'll put up the question again on Instagram asking you for your queries, which I'll try and answer tomorrow. And I'll try and make it earlier tomorrow and not so late. Thanks for being with me today evening. I hope you had a wonderful day. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Good evening.